So I was having a conversation with Kelly, who's my support administration person on my staff here at TAMMA, and she got this. It was actually a marketing email, but we had a really great discussion about it. And the title of the email or the article was, "Are you surrounded by cheerleaders or champions?" And in it, there's this sentence that really popped out to me, and I want to scroll down and read it because it's something I've been wrestling with, and I've talked about this before, about the noise around the markets and politics and you name it. There's a lot of noise. And the quote is, "You have to be willing to be challenged. You have to be willing to hear when you're wrong. You have to be willing to push beyond where you'd normally stop." And I think that's what Alan Dibb is the author or the writer of this email article. And I think the way that he lays this out is cheerleaders make you feel good, champions make you better. And Kelly and I were having this conversation in the context of the current political environment and how, as she put it, a lot of us are acting like toddlers. It's because it's like you get mad and take your ball and go home rather than being able to listen to an imposing view or to hold, and I know I've talked about this before, two competing thoughts in your mind. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, if you're a Democrat, you can't like anything about Trump. And if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican, you couldn't like anything about Biden. And what's really frustrating about that is, how do we move forward? How do we move forward if we can't come together and have disagreements and agreements on anything because it's so polarized? Like, how do we move forward and see progress? I don't have an answer, but when I have typically thought about this, and I'm not a great historian, but I know that we went to civil war over a great many things. And so as we feel divided today, there was a time in this country where we were divided to the point that we were fighting each other. And so, over that, time period, we've grown together, we've grown apart, we've grown back together, and we've grown back apart again. And I don't know what tips us over into being able to have these conversations with each other without losing our tempers, without taking our ball and going home, if you will. But I'd really like to start, because while I may not like everything that's going on in Washington, whether it's the president or the Congress, there are some things that are good. And I should be able to say that without getting pigeonholed into a box and saying, well, no, you're a bad person for agreeing with, President Trump or, the Congress right now. And that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying, and I've said this before, is I try to keep politics as much out of the portfolio management side and the financial plan of what I do. But I also realize we're all humans. And that's one of the great things about the diversity of the people that I work with and the families I help to support here at TAMMA, is that I work with everybody. I work with Democrats. I work with Republicans. I work with independents. But at the end of the day, what are we all trying to do? We're all trying to make a better life and support our families. And if that means agreeing with somebody that's not aligned with your political affiliation, that should be okay. I think I kind of feel confined sometimes not to be able to speak what I really want to say. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be able to say, yes, I agree with this policy and this is why, or no, I don't agree with this policy and this is why not. And not necessarily be painted as a bad person. We all have our flaws. We all have great things about us. And I think the one thing I wish that we would do is really come together and figure out how to move things forward in a positive direction rather than this constant tearing of each other down. And that's the one thing I really like about what I do on the portfolio management side of TAMMA is that companies, earnings, innovation, progress, it doesn't matter necessarily who's in the White House or what party's running Congress. Companies get things done. And they're flawed as well. But when I'm analyzing trends or a company or earnings or the leadership or management in a company, I take all those things into account when I'm making a portfolio management decision. The thing I'm leaving out is what's going on in Washington. So once again, I hope this message helps in some way. And I think where I would really want it to help is it's okay to agree with somebody that's not along your party lines or vice versa. Because at the end of the day, again, we're just trying to make things better. We're trying to support our kids, our families, our loved ones, and do things that we're passionate about. So, with that said, we'll see you soon.